All right, well, we're going to breathe. Hence, our practice this morning is to just breathe. And I want to carry over what we started with last Friday with this pace of prayer, this meditative kind of cadence with the breath. But rather than focusing so much on the skill and quieting the mind to be in that prayerful thought or that intention or introspection, I want to shift our attention to the sensations of the breath, to just feel how the body is receiving the breath. Now, when we first start applying our attention, it might feel like we're overwhelmed. There's a lot to pay attention to. And keep in mind that the intellectual brain's job is to span, right? Scan and to span all that can be known to find where there may be potential danger, and so that we can address that danger. Because we're choosing to do this in our meditation style of practice, I want you to find that calm, abiding space and appease that part of your defense mechanisms, your sympathetic nervous system that wants to solve the problem. And trust that there is no problem. We're just cultivating a greater intimacy. It's kind of like maybe when you're cultivating a new relationship with someone and you hit that first awkward pause and you don't really know what to say. This can be what it feels like in our own experience when learning to be with ourselves just in this moment. So should those kind of pregnant pauses or awkward moments show up, it could trigger the sympathetic nervous system and the brain to fill in, to decide, I'm done with this, or this is too hard, or, oh, pay attention to that sound, or pay attention to this concern, right? Remind yourself, as soon as that comes up, as soon as you notice it coming up, remind yourself that this is just an exercise in attention, right? So by way of cadencing the breath, we're getting enough oxygen. We're giving ourselves plenty to pay attention to. And let's see if we can't kind of flex our muscles a little bit about how much we can hold on to within that breath, right? There's a lot. And yet, like so many of our other senses, we have to practice using this sense of paying attention. Right? If you've ever tasted a food and someone else had a much stronger, say, they have a different reaction to cilantro than you do, right? Different reaction to any kind of a texture. These are learned behaviors, in which case the more exposure we have to them, the more we can fine tune. But then there's also these super sniffers and these folks who can see variety of colors. This is evidence that our humanity does allow us deeper knowing than perhaps the bare bones, right? What we need to get by. So consider, you don't have to be a super sniffer, you don't have to be a super taster, but there is more if we pay attention. So much so that we might even start to feel into what yoga calls the subtle layer, the energetic layer of what's going on in the body. So about a 10-minute cycle of our single practice of evening out the breath while paying attention to what's happening in our experience. So find a few breaths to settle in, find comfort and support. So we find and establish this comfortable seat. Take in the smells, the sights, the tastes, the sounds, the textures that are here with you. Affirming for our mind stuff that we are safe. That even though we pause, the world will continue to move, continue to engage. But it's not our need to hold that attention outward, bringing that attention inward. Notice the length of your inhale. Notice the length of your exhale. And start to even them towards equal. As the breath comes to an equal effort on the in and the out breath, start to shift towards that 5.5 or 6 second count for each side of that breath. And sometimes we're tempted to make these breaths bigger in volume. And that can be a strategy, but it doesn't have to be. Lengthening the breath's pace might just be about slowing how much breath comes in for each second. What do you notice about the volume of your breath? How the belly, the ribs, and the chest are helping to receive and evacuate this breath. Can you feel your ribs move? As a unit opening like a flower, or individually spreading? Can you feel your shoulder blades shift? Maybe it's widening and narrowing, maybe it's lifting and lowering, maybe a little bit of both. Having paused here for a few minutes, notice if there's any complaint in the body, in the neck, in the shoulders, in the back, in the butt, the legs. What does that sensation feel like in your body? A heat, a pressure, a tension, a pulling. Feel free to adjust if there is an adjustment that would bring you back to a greater sense of ease, a quieting of what might trigger panic or fear. What are you noticing? Is it a noticing from what is in the experience inside your body? Is it a noticing of what's going on in the world around you? For our practice, I invite you to come back into your experience. Taste, touch, smell, sound, sight, or breathing. See if you can go deep into the experience enough to feel, not just imagine, but use the imagination, to feel the diaphragm moving. This is the pump muscle of the breath. As it contracts, it flattens, hence the belly protrudes a bit as we distend the organs a little lower. And then on the exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and the transverse abdominis helps to bring the ribs back down. Inhale. Exhale. If too much breath is coming in your pace, consider Ujjayi breath, the closing of the throat to kind of siphon that passageway, slowing down the volume of air coming in and out. If at any reason or any point you're feeling like you're not getting enough breath, take a few cleansing breaths to release the pranayama and begin again. This time as the breath evacuates from the body, feel that emptiness. And then choosing to breathe in again, fill yourself up with whatever it is you need. The hands come to rest together at your heart, and we close this pause, this just breathe practice. And even if no new awarenesses were discovered, with practice, with repetition, with frequency of paying attention, we can deepen our relationship with what is. In doing so, we expand not only our knowledge, but our tolerance of the transitions in breathing in, breathing out, beginning again, living, letting go. and loving. You breathe deeply and move freely. Labor lovingly and live vibrantly. Namaste.